Hello, guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show. Control or be controlled, a podcast designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And as always, I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Marianne Baista. Did I get your name correctly?
No, not quite. I'm sorry. It's Bautista.
Okay,
That's
Bautista.
okay. Marianne
Bautista.
Yeah.
She's the co-founder of TurboRank, a YouTube growth agency helping brands increase visibility, audience reach, and revenue through organic YouTube optimization. With more than 23 years of experience in direct response marketing, Marianne has helped businesses understand how to turn content into measurable growth. Her expertise began when a major e-commerce brand reached the limits of paid advertising and needed a new way to attract customers. That challenge led her to develop an organic YouTube strategy that grew across more than 60 channels and became the foundation for TurboRank. Today, she works with brands ranging from established direct-to-customer companies to major organizations like AARP and Hello Collar, helping them use YouTube search, content strategy, and optimization to build long-term growth without relying solely on paid media. Marianne, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed my wonderful introduction.
Yes, you did a nice job.
All right. So you have built your career around helping businesses grow through YouTube organically.
Yes.
What first showed you the power of YouTube as a growth engine?
What part of YouTube is a growth engine? Was that the question? What part of it?
What first showed you the power of YouTube as a growth engine?
Well, the number one thing that needs to happen up front for any business or brand is that you need to understand how people or businesses are searching for what you are offering, whether it's a physical product or whether it's a service or your expertise. It's really important that you create content that actually addresses the low-hanging fruit of those searches. You want your content to match the searches. So that is, I think, the biggest number one thing that needs to happen when you're starting to use YouTube for your business.
All right. So many businesses consistently post videos but still struggle to get results.
Yes.
Why do so many companies fail on YouTube despite creating regular content?
Yes. Why do they typically fail? They typically fail because they start with the wrong question. They start with a question that says, what does my business want to tell the world about what we do here? That they start from a myopic internal viewpoint. But what they really need to do is what I said just a little earlier, and that is to take a look at what the world wants from them. So that is the number one reason they fail. They throw up content onto YouTube that nobody is interested in. It's not the question that is being asked. See, it's really important to understand that YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. People go to YouTube and they search within it. Now, the number 1 search engine is Google, which just not so coincidentally happens to be their parent company, right? So the up and coming search engines are the AI LLM platforms like Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and they are growing at a very, very rapid pace. So it just makes sense to understand first and foremost, what are people or businesses looking for from me in terms of the solution that I offer to the world?
Okay, so Moving on, when it comes to YouTube success today, what matters the most? Most people say is SEO. Most people say thumbnails. Some say is the titles. Some say audience retention or the quality of the
Yeah.
content itself.
Yeah.
So to you, what matters the most?
Well, I think you have to kind of do it all right. And I think all of those things are important, and they're important for different reasons. You want to know what it is that your audience is looking for, understand the keywords that are being used in those searches in a very specific way, create a content calendar that addresses those searches, and then you have to optimize properly. You have to title, tag, and describe your content so that the algorithm understands who to serve it to. And then you definitely need great thumbnails. You'd like to have thumbnails that are stopping the scroll, right? Punchy, short, keyword driven titles and great graphics, not too complicated, not too, you don't want to do anything that's too big because it's a very small space, right? Especially with people who are looking on their cell phones. So you definitely want to do that. You have to have a certain cadence. We recommend to most businesses that we work with that they publish no less frequently than once a week. And that's a long form and multiple shorts. Now, if you can't keep up with that cadence, if that's just too much production for you, then do once every other week, but be consistent. Be consistent, because when you have long gaps between, like say you publish something back in June and you're not going to publish again until August, that very much not only confuses the algorithm, it confuses your audience. They won't look for you if you are not publishing frequently. So those are some of the problems, or some of the things you need to do right, I guess. You need to do multiple things right.
So you specialize in organic optimization.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest mistakes businesses make when trying to get discovered on YouTube?
What are the biggest mistakes that they make when they're trying to get discovered on YouTube? I feel like I've kind of already answered that question in many respects. I mean, they don't understand what their audience is looking for. They don't publish regularly. They don't optimize properly. Those are some of the biggest mistakes. But what I'd really like to tell you about, in addition to that, is what is a great thing to do. And that is establish an authority engine, an authority footprint. So it's almost becoming for your brand more important to about what other people are saying about you than about what you say about yourself, right? Or what you present to the world. So the number one citation source for all the LLMs is YouTube. The number two citation source is Reddit. And I assume your audience is pretty familiar with Reddit, and you have to be very, very careful in Reddit because it's not a very non-promotional platform. But when you have great content on Reddit that people are asking questions and engaging about your category or your business or your offering, and then, coming up with answers, and then you can actually at times link from Reddit to your YouTube content or from Reddit to your site. Those are very, very valuable things to do. So that's, I would say, one of the things, instead of saying, what are they doing wrong? When they do that right, it just bolsters up not only the YouTube content, you start getting more views and more engagement and more subscribers, but it also bolsters up the opportunity to get into the AI citations, that's kind of brand gold now, right? Everybody wants that. Everybody comes to me and says, how do I get my brand into ChatGPT?
Okay. So, lots of creators believe consistency is the secret to YouTube growth. But how important is consistency compared to having the right strategy and optimization?
Well, you got to have both. Yet again, you got to have both. And I know it's hard to be consistent, but what we strongly recommend is something called bulk producing. So you get the strategy right up front, you understand your keywords, you lay out a content calendar addressing, and based on all that, and then instead of just producing one video at a time, go and produce 3 and 4 at a time. And then you have this library of content that you're working from. Get them edited, get them ready to go, and then schedule them out so that you're not pulling out your hair every single week trying to get a video produced, right? So bulk producing really helps people.
Okay, so smaller businesses often feel they cannot compete with large brands or established creators. How can they use YouTube to build an audience and be able to stand out?
Well, especially regional brands, smaller brands, like even a business that would be just like basically in South Africa where you are. I mean, you can geotag things. You can use those keywords to help, and then that can really help you to compete more consistently. You know, just like as an example, if you're a dentist, well, you know, you don't want to compete with the world of dentists, right? You probably just want to compete with dentists, maybe even in your own neighborhood. Maybe it's just in Cape Town or, you know, somewhere else specifically. So yeah, that's what I would recommend, to narrow it down a little bit to start with.
Okay, so you have worked with both legacy brands and growing companies.
Yes.
Tell us what separates brands that successfully build a YouTube presence from those that struggle.
You know, I think it's stay consistent, keep at it, you know, owned and earned media, which is what you're producing when you create YouTube content, is an asset to your business. You own it. It's there. It doesn't go away. All right. When you go out and you buy paid media, which is fine. Everybody needs to buy paid media for various different campaigns and reasons. But it's different because it's rented attention, right? You pay for an ad, let's just, as an example, on the radio or on TV. And once that ad has aired, it is gone. You get no asset out of that. So that is the beauty of YouTube. And I would definitely say the difference between a small business and a large business is maybe the larger businesses aren't stretched quite so thin and have the resources to be consistent. But if you prioritize it in a small business, you can also be consistent. And a lot of this stuff is very DIY. You know, there are things that you can absolutely do on your own. There's a lot of resources on YouTube about how to build out an appropriate YouTube channel for your business.
All right. So YouTube is becoming increasingly connected with AI search and discovery.
Yes.
How do you see YouTube impacting the future of AI-powered search?
Well, I have to tell you, I just see it continuing to grow and continuing to be more and more invaluable to AI. You know, there's going to be changes. There's going to be a lot of changes in AI. It's really new, right? And everybody's very, very excited about it. I swear, I cannot have a conversation that AI does not come up. But I feel like because if you continue to produce good content and you use all the best practices, you will set yourself up for a very high likelihood of getting into AI. We actually have what we call our 10-point rubric, and that 10-point rubric tells our clients and ourselves, when we're publishing on behalf of a client, exactly how to do it so that you have the best likelihood of getting that content mentioned and cited in AI. So there are some tactics and tricks to it for sure. And, you know, we're on top of it. We're looking at this stuff every single day. And so we're updating that knowledge and learning as things are changing. We have, you know, teams that are devoted to that.
All right. Thank you so much, Marianne. So moving on, what role do keywords and search intent play in creating YouTube content that reaches the right audience?
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to understanding what those keywords are for your business. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. If you've done SEO on your website, that's a great place to start. There are Google platforms that will help you to identify it. You have your own learnings from your own experience with presenting to people and talking to people and listening to your customers. hugely important. If you have a customer service line or if you are taking those calls yourself, really listen to the words that they use when they're asking you questions about your business or your service. So that's, keywords are very important now. I mean, it's changed a lot. You have to be very careful not to stuff keywords. You have to make sure it makes sense. We use, for all of our work, a combination of AI tools and just real human knowledge and nuance. We are not a full AI house. It does not work that well for us to go all AI because, frankly, YouTube doesn't like the bots, and Reddit and Quora and places like that don't like the bots. So we have to be very careful and use AI to our best advantage, but it doesn't replace the work of human beings.
All right. So here is my final question for you.
Okay.
If a business owner listening today wants to improve their YouTube channel immediately, what are the first 3 things they should focus on?
I think it's back to the same thing. I'm sorry, I know, Darlington, I'm sounding a little bit like a broken record here, but I just think really the number one thing is make sure that your content is addressing the questions that your consumers, your target market is looking to get answered. It really is. And it usually falls into a variety of, 3 or 4 different pillars. One thing is oftentimes sort of like a demonstration or an explanation of the product or service in great detail. Another thing would be sometimes there's a great founder story. They really want to understand where this all started from, where, how do you have the knowledge and expertise in your category that, makes me believe and give you the credibility that you deserve. Another thing is social proof. Usually there's a pillar of social proof. Other people who have used your product or service saying good things about you, testimonials, reviews, that type of thing. So yeah, that is what I would say. You do have to kind of do a lot of things right, but I don't want to overcomplicate it for people. The very first thing is know what it is your customer is asking from you. Don't just rely on what you think they want. Learn what your customer is asking of you. And of course, that's a service that we offer here. We'll do a very deep dive diagnostic and set that all up for our clients. But yeah, there are ways to kind of DIY it as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So I know I said that was my last question for
but you have one more.
Okay. So for those, there's a lot of buzz around YouTube automation. There are a lot of guys I know in South Africa. They create faceless YouTube channel, and I don't know how they do it, but they somehow get it monetized and they get paid. And honestly, Marianne, I'm thinking about getting into that, but I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. Are we talking about AI slop, just like AI generated video content?
Yes, they make AI generated videos, yes, and they make a lot of money from it. And I don't know how.
It's a short-term gig, Darlington. It really is. That is a short-term gig. And the reason is that more and more and more YouTube is coming out with policies and bots and ways to track that down. That really isn't what YouTube is supposed to be used for. And it's not to say that you can't use AI at all. Of course you can. But when you just throw up junk content and you're just kind of sitting and waiting for, to become monetized on the platform and then to pick up your paycheck, right, to get your check once a month. If your content does not genuinely provide something, does not have a human element, does not serve some kind of a greater purpose, and it's just wall-to-wall AI, I can tell you, first off, the consumers are going to get sick of it and they're not going to stay very long. They're not going to come back. And YouTube as a business is very negative about that. And they are developing ways to not promote your content, to not make your content discoverable if it's just AI slop. I don't think it's a great way to, I would come up with a content area where you have some real expertise. I don't know if you're familiar with this phrase, but 100% human. people really like human content. They prefer it. So it's a little more work, but yeah, I'm not big on the AI, completely 100% generated AI content on YouTube.
Okay, I know that wasn't a question for you because you focus on real and genuine content optimization.
That's
So,
right.
thank you so much for sharing your expertise and showing us that YouTube is more than just a platform for videos. It's a powerful search engine, marketing tool, and growth opportunity for businesses. Your insights remind us that success on YouTube isn't just about posting more content. It's about understanding your audience and creating strategically and optimizing every piece of content to create lasting impact. So for those that would like to learn more about Marianne Bautista and TurboRank, how can they do that?
How can they get in contact with me?
Yes.
The best way to do it is through LinkedIn. So go to LinkedIn, look me up. It's Mary, separate word, Ann, last name Bautista, Bautista. And if there are a lot of Marianne Bautistas out there, add the word TurboRank, TurboRank, and you can find me. Reach out, let's connect. More than happy to have conversations and support the growing YouTube economy.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you to all my audience. You guys are the real reason why we are able to do this always. Thank you all so much. You all do have a wonderful day ahead. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.